if you're asking me if my ex is an alcoholic or a narcissist to determine whether I'm crazy, yes, I'm crazy. Because I know my ex is a sociopath. And he could be watching too. But in order to be a sociopath, the guy meets all the criteria. My kid's dad. I'm crazy in that psycho chick good way. That's fun, right? But I'm in therapy working on my crazy. I take ownership of attracting somebody who was like that in the past, right? I'm not attracted to narcissists anymore because I've gotten healthier. Does that make sense? But the sociopath is not that. They're walking amongst us. It's not the same as a psychopath. Psychopath, missile throws. Hey, good to see you. My old group back. But we're crazy in a way that, like, we're working on our shit, trying to work on our issues. So it's like you're not crazy if you know you're crazy. The narcissist or the sociopath they have no awareness. They blame, they're somebody who cannot apologize, cannot take ownership. If they do something wrong, it's your fault that they did it. They lie. That's the kicker, because I don't lie. And then sometimes I might lack empathy, and sometimes, but I have awareness. Like, I feel bad that I don't, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's from my childhood trauma. But there are times where I definitely feel guilt, remorse. Thank you, user time 62 for the rose. So I do feel, and I'm like, I know I'm an honest person and I don't try to hurt people. So I know I don't qualify as that, but I'm not saying that I have it. We all can be abusive, right? Or verbally, or go off, or get psycho, or get triggered, or that sort of thing. You know, you might come off like, you know, you're self-absorbed, or people that grew up like having to take care of themselves are going to come off a little bit in survival mode and self-absorbed and kind of pushing people away. And so there's different degrees. But somebody who's the sociopath or the narcissist, whatever, I mean, a sociopath literally is somebody with antisocial personality disorder coupled with childhood misconduct at age 15. That means they were getting in trouble with the law. So a lot of those kids that start fires when they're 15, they have their first arrest when they're like 15. They start running the streets, vandalizing homes, getting picked up by cops, because they're living a real screwed up environment, usually, right? And so these kids, these wayward kids, usually men, boys, whatever, they start getting into all this trouble. And then the antisocial personality disorder, I think there's like 9 characteristics. You have to have like 5 of them to be diagnosed. They don't diagnose personality disorders a lot because Big Pharma wants to give you a pill for everything. You didn't have your first arrest till 41. Just because you didn't get arrested, though, I mean, even if you didn't get diagnosed, if you were like troublesome at 15 years old, that's where a psychologist could go back in time and say, yeah, you would have qualified for that diagnosis at that age. And then the antisocial personality disorder is not that you're not social. It's not that you don't like people. It's these telltale signs. The lying, not feeling remorse, being very irresponsible. A lot of these men end up like not paying their child support. They just run from state to state, from woman to woman. They can't hold a family down. They lie to their women, Or, I mean, it's not just men, but it's just it's usually men get diagnosed with this. But they don't get diagnosed because Big Pharma wants to give you a pill for everything, so they'll call you bipolar. Well, then you're not a sociopath, probably. You trying to make yourself sociopath? It's not you. It's not you. I'm just saying it's certain people. When these women are like, oh my God, my ex was like narcissistic, watch out, because she's probably got borderline personality disorder. But I've worked on it, like, a lot. You can actually recover. You can recover from personality disorders. But pharmaceutical companies, they don't want you to recover. They want to give you a mood stabilizer. Yeah, no, you're not. But what I'm saying is that's those things. The guys or the women or the men that lie, don't have any empathy, don't apologize and say that, like, they blame others. They blame everyone else, even for their own bad behavior, have absolutely no remorse, no guilt, and they lie, and they're typically, like, very irresponsible. Even if they hold down a job and do really well, they could still be irresponsible from a social standpoint. But there's actual sociopaths that run companies, too, and governments, right? So, because they like, a lot of them like, happy birthday. I'm like, oh, happy birthday. You're saying that to me. Thank you. A lot of them can get to the top because they don't care who they step on or manipulate or steal from or lie to. You know, they just don't care. So you do see them in places. Right? Women are, well, I don't know. Trump, I think, could maybe qualify for some narcissistic, personality disorder traits. I mean, I actually liked Trump, and because it makes me sound like a bad person if I say I liked him. But the narcissist just has, like, narcissistic personality disorder. Some of the traits are similar. Like, it's just, if you look up, like, the DSM-5 or whatever, whichever one they have out, it's, like, usually, like, there's traits, and you have to meet, like, usually about 5 out of 9. So, but you won't get diagnosed because, like I said, they want to give you medications. They want to get you hooked on meds instead of treating your personality disorder. And so my kid has ADHD, my son, supposedly. My kids have the same dad. That's, like, my big thing. Like, I'm a single mom, but they have the same dad. It's like they shouldn't have, because they shouldn't have had a second. Well, I should have, because I believe my son belongs with me, but I have to be careful with him. I worry because he's very young and he's already had some, like, oppositional defiance disorder. If I don't get it under control, I have to be very careful, because the brain and empathy and all that's formed by, like, age 5. And that's what's so sad, is that some of this stuff happens from how kids grow up. I don't know. Trump is not, maybe. I do think he probably could qualify for a diagnosis of, narcissism. But we don't know that he doesn't have a heart. There's a lot of people that have come forward to say that he's done things for people, like lots of people that worked for him. that he's helped people in like a lot of ways, and it wasn't for like fame or financial gain. Like, there's stories of him actually like paying for people's cancer treatment, doing all these things. There's all these stories where he's done things for people. So you can have narcissistic personality disorder and have like a big ego and you can have those things built into your personality, but it doesn't necessarily mean you're like never care. Does that make sense? About anyone, or like, it's kind of a hard thing to treat usually because a lot of narcissistic people don't take any ownership. I have some narcissists. When I score as high as like actors and actresses do, like when I took this like little test. I don't know if Trump only cares about himself though. I mean, I don't know. I guess people that think that he set up whatever on January 6th might say that, but then there's people that also kind of think the other side of that. Like, once I saw that go down, I knew it was over for him. But I also knew it almost felt like a setup. Like, it felt like those people were let into the Capitol to walk in there to make a scene. And I think there's people that wanted that to happen. And there's just so much more that we don't know. So I try to have an open mind and not a formed opinion, until I know concrete evidence, I guess. And yeah, there's some evidence that, I don't know. I guess I've got bad taste in men. I always fall for the narcissists. I just like the fact, I like somebody running the country that is making actions for what's best for our country, I guess. I don't think... Well, Trump was raised by a father who was like never around and was like very stern and, didn't probably give him enough nurturing, like growing up. And he had some stuff that developed some trauma in his life, probably. See, a lot of people that have trauma or like parents that didn't care about them or weren't around end up like kind of with narcissistic traits. But what do you know about Putin more than what you hear on the news, though? Like, don't you realize... Like, this is my thing. I don't know everything that's going on. Now, I think... It's just my opinion. I'm starting to think that there's just a lot of propaganda going on. And that we're all kind of being swayed to think a certain thing. And this running theme that's been going on for like 5 years is was anti-Russia. Do you remember in 9/11 when we were trained to be scared of suicide bombers? Do you remember that, when they programmed us to be scared of anybody with, a headpiece around their head? Do you remember that? And it was like, these people are going to come to our country and blow us up. And that was from Republicans. So I'm not even saying, oh, Republicans are perfect. I just think it's all so corrupt, honestly, anymore. The more I dig into it, the more I just am like, something is not sitting right with what's going on. Why do I like Putin? I don't even have an opinion of Putin, because all I'm getting is some news report saying Putin did this, Putin did that, Putin's militarizing energy. I work in energy. I watch the natural gas market. ERCOT is the Electric Reliability Council of Texas. We manage our own electricity grid, and I literally watch the market shut itself down, just like the stock market does, because the prices need to be readjusted, and they're so volatile. Usually it's because they're going way up. So who's selling this natural gas now at really, 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 really high prices to Europe? The United States is. They're making lots of money. You know where natural gas comes from? The big oil companies. You know where most of your electricity comes from? Natural gas. You know who's going to get rich when all your cars are electric? The big oil companies. So there's so much stuff that people don't really know anything about. And when you piece it together, you can't help but to think that there's some real suspicious stuff going on. So I don't have any opinion formed until I know. And just because I see on the news Hillary Clinton tell me that the Russians rigged the election, and to hear that over and over and over and over and over again, that Russia did it, and then all of a sudden, he's a big bully. He's starting a war. Why? Why is he doing that? Why? We don't really know what's going on, do we? But we know that Hunter Biden had some dealings in Ukraine. We know that. Economics? What's the economics of it? They put sanctions on Putin's pipeline. Okay? So Putin said, take these sanctions off, or I'm not going to give you natural gas. Then they said, Putin's militarizing gas. He's weaponizing natural gas. And then what did they do? They started producing a bunch of natural gas and making hand over fist selling it. So now our electricity here in America has gone up. True story. Because I'm doing renewals on customers, I was giving them a 4-something cent rate. And over the summer, I had to offer them like fucking 12 cents, like a kilowatt. Okay? So don't fucking tell me, don't even try to tell me that because you watch some shit on the news that you know what's going on. Because you don't. I don't even know what's going on. So I don't know what my opinion is of Putin. But I know there's a lot of people that really like him. And I know that the United States is trying to tell us that he's bad. And I know that the United States is trying to tell us that there's propaganda over there. And I know that United States censors stuff. And I know that I can go to a Russian website and find stuff that is censored in the United States. I did go to college. No, you clearly don't don't even go there and tell me that I don't understand economics, because that is the most inaccurate statement you could possibly make. I understand economics. So what am I not understanding? Supply and demand? What am I not understanding? They created a shortage of natural gas, so the demand went up, so the price went up. Who created the shortage? I absolutely graduated with fucking honors. Who are you to even come on my live and try to insult me like that? And who the fuck cares about college? College is the biggest fucking joke of it all, right? They tricked us to fucking take out student loans and pay the rest of our fucking lives for a degree. I made $80,000 last year, not even fucking using my degree. So I'm so sick of people anymore that are just rude to people, because I was actually having a very nice debate. Very nice. I was very cordial to people. I brought it up because somebody tried to insult my intelligence and say that I didn't even go to college and that I didn't understand economics. Biden economics did it the first day in office. I mean, and who is Biden? You guys fucking voted blue from no matter who. Do you see who's in office now? The guy can't even read off the fucking teleprompter. Like you guys need to wake up. Seriously, a lot of people are just walking around like just with blinders on. You know? It's like, and I'm not trying to say that there's not like wonderful Democrats. There's very wonderful Democrats. There's people that care. It's just like skin color. It doesn't matter what skin color you are. It's who you are as an individual. Who are you as a person? Right? Are you a good person? Or are you a piece of crap that's like rude to random strangers and try to insult them because you can't get your point across? Like, that's not my problem that you don't have the fucking receipts. I shut them down and they had to fucking insult me and leave. I don't care if Biden graduated fucking law school. He was like bottom of his class. Who cares what he did? Do you see him now? Do you think he's running the country? Or do you think he's getting a script? I think they're handing him a script to read. And if you don't, then that's your problem if you can't figure that out. It's not a red versus blue thing. It's not a Trump, versus Biden. I didn't blame you for me procreating with a narcissist. Never once did I. I said I had childhood trauma. And that's what I attracted. And now I'm not attracted to people like that anymore. And there's people with narcissistic traits in their personality, and it doesn't even mean I don't have to prove shit to you. You guys are nuts, man. I don't know what's wrong with people. I'm so sick of how, like, rude people are to each other. I'm not trying to be rude to you. I'm just trying to, like, have a conversation and debate something. I apologize if I'm coming off rude. I'm not trying to be rude. I guess I come off a little aggressive because I'm pushing back with facts. So I want other people to come back with facts. But do we know that he really invaded a peaceful country? Do we really know? Do you really have evidence of that? Do you really know all the details? I don't know. I don't mean to yell. My blood sugar's getting low and I need to eat. I need to calm down. Sorry. Apologize. I'm not trying to yell at anybody. Whew. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to be mean. Okay? I'm just saying that I don't know what the truth is. That's all I'm saying. Something feels off about what's going on. I sell natural gas, liquid natural gas. It's going to go up in price because we're shipping it over to, United States is shipping it over to Europe because they've all come up with this convoluted plan. Now they've told us that he blew up his pipeline, and I don't think he did. I don't know who blew that pipeline up. There's like some evidence that he did not. And there's also evidence that a new pipeline was turned on the same day. It was also somebody in their own mouth saying they were going to stop the Nord Stream 2. I mean, he said he's going to put a stop to Nord Stream 2. And then it's like, why? You know what I'm saying? It's like, that's why I try to not have an opinion formed, because my opinion is malleable based on the facts and the information I receive. I have a 4-year degree. The fact that you would sit here, do you want to see my freaking diploma? Like, do you want me to dig it out of the garage? I went to a private university. Like, it's like, why are you questioning, that's all you can hang up on, is to try to tell me that, question my intelligence based on the level of education I have. Exactly. It's good to be skeptical, but some of this is verifiable. I went to Roosevelt University. I got a bachelor's of science in psychology. I minored in biology. And I did go apply for the master's program. I was accepted. I ended up moving to Texas. Entitled Karen. Oh God, please. Get out of here. You guys come on and you see 5 minutes of somebody and you think that you can somehow decide exactly who they are, what they're about, and that's the problem with people, is that people form an opinion and then they're not willing to change it. Okay, you were joking. Oh, appreciate it. But I'm just saying people will form an opinion. See, I'll form an initial opinion about somebody, right? But when they prove me wrong, I have to admit it. I have to say, wow, they're not who I thought they were. We all have preconceived judgment about people. But I think people have this fear of like changing their opinion because they think somehow it means that they're a liar to themselves. Because they thought something, they have to somehow be convicted and keep it. It's you don't have to, and that's what I did. I used to vote just Democrat because I grew up in Illinois. And then I was I'm just going to vote Democrat because everyone else votes Democrat. And that must be right. And then I learned more and more about it, and now I'm not, I wouldn't say that I'm a Republican. I would consider myself an independent. But if I had to pick a side, I probably would pick the side that is, I align with a few things more on the other side. But both sides are corrupt, okay? Both sides are trying to make the other side bad. Both sides are lobbying, and it's just wrong, okay? It's wrong what's going on, because the people that are in charge are the corporations that are paying for it, right? Sponsors, put this ad, whatever. It's just, the more you look into it. Yeah, Trump's there's things I really liked about him. But I don't think it'll be wise if the GOP tries to push him in again. I really think they need to start fresh. I would like to see a DeSantis ticket, or I could, maybe even that, what's her name? Tulsi Gabbard, I feel as VP. But some people think that she's phony. But I feel everything because of her voting record is straight. She's a Democrat because of her voting record. She was really into, she's not really though conservative because she's into, abortion, and she considers herself a Democrat. She's saying she left only because of, I think she wants to make a run for office. I think they got some plans for her because I think she would sway the independents. I could see DeSantis and then Tulsi Gabbard as VP. But that's just my opinion, and I'm nobody. I don't think I like Trump, but there's some things that I feel he could have done better with, to not, have respect for him for like doing the things that he said that, you know, he was going to do. But I feel like there's times where he could have just bit his tongue and been a little bit more. I hate political correctness, but I just feel like I did like him talking back to like some of the reporters and stuff, and that some of it made me laugh. I'm not gonna lie, but I don't think that I don't think he's going to be the pick. I think there's too much bad stuff around him that they need like a kind of a fresh start, if that makes sense. Because if he tried to run, I think that our chances would be kind of stifled too, because the other powers that be would be working so hard to not. I mean, there's too many people now that see him as like an inciter of, you know, riling people up, and I don't think that he would be a good pick. But I liked him, and I voted for him, and I was disappointed, you know, with everything that went down. Oh, wow, you're not even old enough to vote? That's cool that you care, because I didn't even care about politics till I got a lot older. I didn't care or I pay attention to any of it until the last few years. I do not like who's in office now, though. That's what bugs me, is that people always got to bring him up if you say you don't like who's in office. Now, it's like, you can have an independent opinion about the current person that's in office, and it doesn't have to have anything to do with Trump. There's reasons why you can see who's in office now, and you can be like, you know, I don't think he's really running things. I think he's making too many choices based on identity. There's too much identity politics. I don't have a problem with trans people, but I don't think it's the right call just to say, to appease you guys, we're putting in the first trans woman to be head of health. It's kind of like, was she the most qualified person? I don't think Kamala Harris was the most qualified person either. Nobody likes her. Maybe not nobody, but she's not very likable. That's just a fact. You can be mad about facts all you want, but she doesn't have a very high approval rating. She gives speeches. She sounds just really ridiculous. She's not, and that doesn't mean she's a terrible person, but she's not a good public speaker, right? She's borders are, and she's not even going to the border. So whatever. We can have an opinion that we don't like them. Doesn't have anything to do with Trump. It's independent of Trump, right? I want somebody good in office. I don't even care if they're a Democrat. If they're a good person, and they actually care, and they actually have integrity, and they're honest, and they do what they say they're going to do, and they're not just letting other people dictate, you know, what they read on a teleprompter, what's going to be done, and then literally say, we're going to have the first black female VP. And the fact that people vote just over that, I think, is terrible, because you're promoting, like, racism. It bothers me to say, like, we're just picking this person because of the color of their skin. That's the most racist thing you could possibly do. It's like, I just want to, like, squish all of this, like, racism all together and just, like, look at people as people and form an opinion based on their actions, not their skin color. It's like, why is that so hard? And I don't care what skin color you are. I want somebody in office who's a working for the people. Doesn't matter. I'm not voting based on somebody's nationality. I'm not. I'm so sick of it. Yeah, everyone pointing people's color. I was never so conscious of like race until all this crap went down. And it's like, I don't know why they're doing it. And they said, I mean, I can understand people that have had problems, and I feel really sad for those people that have like been picked on because of their skin color. But it's like, I hang out with black people and they don't walk around saying like that they've been persecuted for being black. They treat me like I'm family, you know, because I lived in some group homes. I lived with a lot of black people. So I'm a little ghetto, actually. I have a little bit in me. But I love black people. Like, I'm not sitting here trying to like placate to anybody. I'm not virtue signaling, none of that. It's just, I can go into a black neighborhood and be treated like family. Nobody's talking about skin color, right? We're just hanging out. And that's that, you know? And then they try to like win the votes. So they try to be like, oh, well, this party's against you because of your identity. So then they trick these people into like voting a certain way because they brainwash them that like somehow they're, you know, people are persecuting them based on their identity. And it's just, that gets in people's heads, you know, messes with people. If you tell little children like that white kids have privilege and you don't, they're going to grow up with this screwed up identity that like something's wrong with them because of the color of their skin and their white peers have an advantage. And that's BS. Absolutely BS. I would never want, so I don't care if people want to say colorblind is so wrong. I think that that's the right way to be, because I don't think a person's color, gender, nationality, religion, I don't think any of that should dictate how we treat somebody, right? Or what we think about that person. And if that person, it's that you gotta, you know, and that's what Martin Luther King was all about anyway. He's wanting us to grow up in a world where we would actually judge people based on the content of their character, not the color of their skin. Here we are in 2022, putting in people in office based on the color of their skin, you know, and it's sad. And people are falling for it. Good to see you, Cheryl. I'm going to get off here. I'm going to call Cheryl. I was actually thinking of her the other day. I'm like, oh my God, I haven't talked to her in a while. Because I got to drive. And I'm hungry. It is sad. I'm a nice person. I like truthfully care about like everybody. And treat everybody like their person that has value. And it's hard to see people just bully people and just be so cruel and like rude to people. And it's hard to see that, you know, because if you have like, if you have any kind of like conscience, you know, it's like I feel guilt if I'm mean to somebody. I might get angry and snap, but when that anger wears off, I feel bad, you know, and then I feel like, wow, I might have hurt their feelings and I probably owe them an apology. You know, I never want to really hurt somebody's feelings or anything like that. Like, I don't know why some people do. I don't know. I guess they say hurt people. But I was not raised to be a bully. It's just sad to see that there's so many people that are just ready to like rip you apart, you know, especially on social media. They can just type whatever they want behind, you know, they call them a keyboard warrior or whatever. But it's like, you're still like saying, your words matter, you know, you're still saying mean things to people, you know? Yeah, I know. Some people are racist, and that's sad. But it's like, I'm not, you know, it's like, I just have to like do the next right thing, right? So, and then I'm training my children. My children are not, I mean, I lived with black people when my son was born. The woman who, she was black. They don't care if they get called black either. They try to be all, oh, African American. They don't care that much. I'm just saying. I lived with black people, a wonderful family. I wouldn't be where I'm at today if it wasn't for renting that house with them for 2 years after my kid's dad left me. We rented a house together, okay? And she was in the labor room. So that's the first person my son saw was a black person. And then they grew up with black people. So my kids didn't know what color was for the first 2 years. My son, anyway. Kids actually see people the way like cartoons are. Like everybody's a different color, right? And they're all the same. You know what I'm saying? So they are colorblind. And when my daughter wanted like a black baby, I let her buy the black baby doll. You know what I'm saying? It's like, okay, cool. You don't see it because they don't see it as like, it gives no credence to who the person is, you know, because the ancestors, whatever, lived closer to the equator and like needed more melanin in their skin. I mean, that's the most asinine thing I've ever. It's okay to acknowledge the differences. Yeah, it's my birthday. Forgot, yeah. It's okay to acknowledge physical differences, but what matter? Why does it matter? This person's tall. This person's short. This person has dark skin. This person has light skin. This person has freckles. I mean, how does it matter? Like, I just don't. There's cultural differences, but I mean, at the end of the day, it's like, are you a good person or are you not? And the skin color does not determine that. It just doesn't. And that's my opinion, period. So all I can do is my part, and I can raise my children, you know, to just, they play with kids of all different, you know, we're a big melting pot. They're all different nationalities. And they don't know. It's like, oh, my friend's, you know, brown. My friend's, you know. It's like, who cares? Like, you can recognize the differences, and that's okay. The physical differences. Or you can, like, you know, going to, you know, I like eating Thai food. Or I love, like, Thai coffee, like iced coffee. And, oh, my God, pad Thai. I mean, it's, I don't know. Anyway, I gotta stop rambling. I'm gonna call you Cheryl. Exactly. I think that's my issue. I see people with my heart. Like, I see people the way, like, God sees people. I also see people for, like, their potential, like, where they're going, what they're capable of doing. Oh, you used to live in Thailand? Oh, wow, that's really cool. I'd love to visit it. I don't see people like the way they are like today. You know, it's like, I think God doesn't see us like that. God sees a person and sees their heart and also sees like where they're going to go and what he's going to be able to do through them. Like, so he sees them into the future, almost like what they're capable of, instead of seeing the, like, present condition, which is sometimes a person's drinking, you know, or struggling mentally or whatever, but you know they're on the road to recovery, right? And you're like, this person's going to do amazing things. I had a friend that, like, I met him when he was still drinking, but I could tell, you know, that he was going to get sober, he's going to sponsor all these people, he was going to help all these people out, and he's done that. He's 5 years today, but it's like, I built him up and encouraged him, even though he thought he was a piece of shit, right? Because he's like, oh, my wife left me. You know, my family thinks I'm a loser and I lost my job, right? He was a pastor too. He's like, lost my church and I'm horrible. And I'm like, dude, you're going to reach so many people. Like, it's not even funny how many people you're going to help, you know? Like, you have a big calling. So whatever the reality is today is not, that's not your future. That's not who you are. Just because you're struggling with something like drugs or alcohol, or, you know, that's not who you are and where God's taking you. You know, it doesn't define you. And that's what people need to like realize too. And because that kind of shame just keeps you in it, you know, keeps you just pouring liquor on top of it. I'm such a piece of crap, you know. You get your fucking whip out, start whipping your bad. I'm so bad.